Hey everybody. For a long time I've been meaning to make a video about my 3D printer. I bought a 3D printer I think about 6 years ago, and I've been having a lot of fun with it, and I would have liked to show you some of the changes I made and some of the projects I've done with it. But spoiler alert, the ending of this video is going to be a bit different because I already ordered a new printer. So I can still make the video about my old printer, but just know that what I'm going to recommend here isn't necessarily advice, but more of a life story or a bit of a slice of life about how I've been using the printer and what I like about it. So yeah, let's get started with the printer here itself. As I said, I got my printer 6 years ago, just before the pandemic, which was great because it meant I could use it the entire time during the pandemic. And it was a bit of an impulse buy. Like, I saw that some friends of mine got a 3D printer. I've been using ones in makerspaces for a while. And I thought, okay, great, they are finally affordable. Let's get into this hobby. And I didn't know yet if I was going to like the hobby, was going to use it a lot. So I tried to buy something which was reasonably priced. I settled for the Ender 5, but quickly, after you bought a printer in 2020, you would have realized that you wanted to upgrade the printer. So in the case of the Ender 5, I've made a lot of changes. So this Ender 5 isn't exactly a normal Ender 5. So changes it has are, there's a Raspberry Pi, so I can now remotely send files, which is amazing. Like, I absolutely love this feature. There is a camera, so you can monitor it. I'm not using it that much, to be honest. I've added a couple of things for stability, a tool holder, all the kind of basic things. But most importantly, I thought that the printer was a bit too loud, so I replaced the motherboard to have silent printer motors. I replaced the power supply, so the power supply is silent. I replaced all the fans, so all the fans are silent. Basically, anytime I replaced something, I got annoyed about another thing being wrong. So I kept replacing things until I ended up with this. And I probably spent more money than if I would immediately bought like a good printer, like a Prusa Mark III, I think it was at the time. So yeah, this printer works in the sense that I can turn it on, send a command to the printer and get something of reasonable quality. But lately I've been getting less and less happy with it. That doesn't mean that this printer is the worst for a printer from 2019-2020. I hear a lot of people complain about that they have to recalibrate their printer the whole time. But this one, honestly, I moved it from Germany to London and then moved it from within London to another place in London. I don't remember calibrating it a single time. And it just kept working. Like, first layer is always good enough. I am still kind of babysitting the first layer though, so it's far from perfect. But yeah, so overall the whole thing doesn't look great. The layers are not as amazing as they can be. Yeah, I see some new printers which are better. So despite seeing a lot of issues with the prints, I had a lot of fun with it. So I've built quite a couple of fun projects over the years. So ones which immediately come up with me are a cupcake robot. I think that was my favorite thing to design. So during the pandemic I designed a robot which could take cupcakes to someone else. So it was remote controlled. So I made it all the way from scratch. And over the years I've built multiple robots and used 3D printing to make multiple robots work a bit. And it wasn't the whole body from scratch. It could be some additions to make the robot actually work way better. So that was a lot of fun. The 3D print which I made the most was a vehicle coordinate system. So that's something which I'm printing right here. And that one's actually like it was such a good idea at the time. I was working at a company. I often noticed that people had the wrong idea of what coordinate system we are using. So if I was programming something, I would see like mistake upon mistake, and then at the end it would work. But yeah, I figured that if I would just give someone a physical representation of the coordinate system, they would probably not make the same mistake anymore. And I applied this in this new job which I currently have, and so there's any place I work from then on always has loads of those coordinate system cars all over the place. Ever since then, I haven't seen any errors anymore in coordinate systems, which could mean that people are better educated and better programmers, but yeah, I hope my coordinate systems have worked a bit. As I said at the start of the video, I liked the printer. I had great memories, made great memories with it, but I also got a bit annoyed lately that I saw that other friends of mine were spending less time tweaking their settings, or at least getting better prints without tweaking settings. So I figured it would be time for a new printer. And if you buy a new printer, I think there's one standard printer which most people are getting, because the prices and the quality of 3D printers has gone up a lot in the last 6 years. So for not a lot of money, you can get a very reasonable printer made in China, and you can have a lot of fun with that. It can print multiple colors, you can remotely control it. It's basically amazing. However, there's also an alternative printer you can buy, and that is the printers by Prusa. Prusa has been in the 3D printer game for a very long time. They were, like Joseph Prusa himself was one of the earlier people who made and open sourced his 3D printing designs. And even right now they try to keep pushing innovation, they try to keep coming up with interesting ideas, and often they make these ideas open source, open hardware, so you can tweak it in whatever way you want. The printers are quite maintainable, so you can keep using them and upgrade them for a long time, but they are twice as expensive. Now, this on its own, I think, could still be an easy choice if you, like me, are a hobbyist and are not using your printer that often. However, there's something else which I think is important, and that is that in Europe we don't have that many places which make robots, machines, like people who really engineer things as a product. Most of these jobs have gone to China, and honestly speaking, China is nowadays very good at making things without us. So I think it's important that we support European manufacturing. I think it's important we support companies who want to build things which are open source and open hardware. So long story short, I bought myself, this thing is crazy heavy by the way, a new Prusa Core 1 Plus printer. So I'm going to unpack it this weekend, and maybe tell me if you're interested. Maybe I'll make another video telling you about my experience with this printer soon. Thank you very much for watching. Have a nice day.